Good afternoon. Welcome back to Tops Tactical and other cool stuff. Kind of getting on a video kick. I mean, I've got probably 3 or 4 videos coming over the next few days and put a couple up yesterday. But don't worry, it'll pass. Pretty soon I'll get too busy and I won't be blowing up your YouTube. But anyway, years ago, I had my YouTube channel first started. And I took it down for a couple of years. When I put it back up last month, 6 weeks ago, whatever it was, I wasn't able to recover a lot of the videos that I had. Well, one thing I noticed yesterday was that I don't have a video anymore concerning firearm safety. Well, firearm safety is the absolute #1 concern when we're doing any kind of training or maintenance with our firearms. So today we're going to touch on safety. Today's training aid is the Sig Sauer P320 X5 Legion. All right, this is a pistol I was shooting USPSA with. I've got a review on this pistol that I did a year and a half ago. Check it out. Just if I'm smart enough, or my editor's smart enough, I'll slap a link up here and you guys can go check that video out. But anyhow, that's today's training aid. The Sig Sauer P320 X5 Legion. And I've got this topped off with the Sig Sauer Romeo X optic, I believe it is. Pretty nice shooting rig. I really like it. Talk about the gun in depth later, but we're here to talk about safety. First thing we're going to do is make sure we have a complete safe weapon. Empty magazine. There's no fancy color to the follower. It's just black. So anyway, magazine is empty. We're going to lock the slide to the rear. If I hit the right button, we're going to lock the slide to the rear. We are going to visually and physically inspect the chamber in the magazine well to make sure that it is empty and this firearm is unloaded. All right, weapon safety, boys and girls. I want to start off with a story. A little over a year ago, I happened to roll up on a deal where a friend of mine had just accidentally shot himself. He had a gun that wasn't working properly. He had the slide and the barrel were locked together. Couldn't get the round out of the chamber. So the magazine had been withdrawn from the weapon and was sitting here. He had managed to get the slide and the frame separated. The frame was sitting here. However, there was still a round in the chamber and a tragic incident occurred. Now, he did recover. But there it was. All of a sudden I walk in like 1 minute after it happens. When I taught classes before, we had a slide in our presentation. I believe it was a disassembled 1911. And the caption on it said, "All guns are always loaded all the time." And I kind of looked at that and I think back on that. I mean, this guy had this gun tore apart. But because there was a round lodged in the chamber, somehow it went off. So never, ever think for an instant that you can get away with anything, okay? Remember, there's 4 firearm safety rules, okay, that I have lived my life by. Now, you can come up with 500 firearm safety rules like thou shalt not cross a fence with a loaded gun, or thou shalt not climb up into your tree stand with a loaded gun, or just whatever. It's a limitless list. But I'm going to give you 4 firearm safety rules. And if you remember and take these 4 rules and make them part of your life and how you handle firearms, you will never have an issue. Rule number 1, all guns are always loaded all the time. Now, you can hear them said many different ways. I've heard rule number 1 is treat every weapon as if it were loaded all the time. I don't sit there and memorize rules, but I do make them short enough that I can remember them. All guns are always loaded all the time, period. Okay? Rule number 1, all guns are always loaded all the time. Rule number 2, keep your finger straight and off the trigger until your sights are on the target. AKA, keep your booger hooker off the bang switch, this thing right here, the bang switch, unless your sights are on the target. I tell myself all the time, and I believe you guys heard this in the video the other day, if I am on the target, I am on the trigger. If I am off the target, off the trigger. On target, on trigger, off target, off trigger. I have fooled with guns for at least 50 years. I started shooting when I was big enough to hold both ends of a gun off the ground at the same time. And started shooting pellet guns before that because I could shoot them off the porch rail or just whatever. I have never had a weapon I was personally in control of that went off unless I pulled the trigger. Bottom line, all right? Keep your fingers straight and off the trigger till your sights are on the target. When I'm on the target, I'm on the trigger. When I'm off the target, I'm off the trigger. Rule number 3. Never cover anything with the muzzle you are not willing to destroy. Plain and simple, I am not going to point my gun at anything that I am not willing to put a round into. Now, the camera is sitting on a tripod, so I could point my gun at the camera and be nice and safe and emphasize this point of never cover anything with a muzzle you're not willing to destroy. But it's a pretty simple rule. Now, there is no eraser for a bullet. A bullet does not have a string tied on the end of it to where you can pull it back if something bad happens. And every round you fire has a lawyer attached to it. So be mindful of your muzzle. Never cover anything with a muzzle you are not willing to destroy. Plain and simple. Rule number 4. Rule number 4 is to be sure of your target and what lies beyond it. All right. Out here at my range, as you see me shoot on the range, I am shooting into a big dirt berm that is probably at least 10 to 15 feet thick at the bottom. All right. We need to ensure that there is nothing behind our target that our bullet could strike that's going to cause problems. Bullets go through things. If you ever hear of a guy named Clint Smith, he's got a Thunder Ranch YouTube channel. Clint's a retired or former Vietnam veteran, he's in the Marine Corps, former law enforcement. He's been teaching firearms for probably close to 60 years, I guess, depending on how old he is. But Clint's got a saying. He said, pistols put holes in people, rifles put holes through people, and a shotgun at the right range with the right load leaves crap on the wall, okay? So you need to understand that your bullet most likely will go through what you're shooting it at. So you need to be sure of what's behind your target. Okay, I don't need a bullet to pass through my range out, pass through a target on my range out here, go out to the end of the pasture and smack a neighbor's cow or anything crazy. So rule number 4 is be sure of your target and what lies beyond it. No sense dragging this video out. That's the down and the dirty of it. I cannot emphasize enough the importance of firearm safety because there are no do-overs. All right, you can go through life and not be held accountable for things that you do, and you can go through life and you can get away with things, but I am here to tell you, a bullet will not give you a break. If you put a bullet into something that it shouldn't, it will destroy what you're shooting at, and there's no comeback for that. Firearm safety has to become an intricate part of your life. One of the reasons that I quit teaching many years ago was that I was tired of my students pointing guns at me, just not paying attention, sweeping me with the muzzle. You've got to adopt these rules of life, and you've got to make them a part of your life. Anyhow, I've rambled enough, but I'm going to run through them one more time. Number 1, all guns always loaded all the time, period. Number 2, never cover anything with a muzzle you're not willing to destroy. Number 2, keep your finger straight and off the trigger till your sights are on the target. If I'm on the trigger, I'm on the target. If I'm off the trigger, or if I'm off the target, I'm off the trigger. Rule number 3, never cover anything with a muzzle you're not willing to destroy. Means I don't point this gun at anything unless I'm willing to destroy it. Not even my buddy's feet standing at the range as I'm manipulating the firearm. And number 4 is be sure of your target and what lies beyond it. Take these rules, memorize them, adopt them, absorb them into your life, and I guarantee you will never have a negligent incident occur. Thanks for tuning in. If you don't mind, hit that like, subscribe button. Maybe throw a comment down or tell me how handsome I am, how bad my videos are, just whatever the case may be. Comments are comments. And I hope you guys have a great day. Always remember, shoot safe, shoot straight, and train often.